Yes, we're talking about classy summer fragrances to wear in the summer when it's hot, when you want to smell good, but classy. Yeah, so this video was sponsored by Beauty. They're an online fragrance store and distributor of many different brands, many different varieties of fragrances. Now, to be honest, they've actually been in business for decades, but I had never heard of them. They reached out to me. I started to get acquainted with who they are, the fragrances that they carry, and I decided to work with them. I love working with stores because I get to choose what I want based on what I like. And then I send you guys to them and you take a look and see if there's anything that's of value to you. And to sweeten the deal a bit, we're going to offer you guys a little discount code so you can go check it out, save a little bit of money and see if there's something you like. So this is what I did. I went to Buy Beauty's website. I checked out their catalog. They claim to have over 10,000 authentic brand name products. And I went through all of them.
Try!
They got quite a bit of designer. They have a little bit of niche and indie. So again, a little bit of a variety. Not a ton of brands, but a lot of the big ones that you would hope to find. I also found a little section of the website called monthly deals where they do just that, monthly deals every month. So you can keep an eye and see if there's any price drops that interest you. And for those who like talking to people who need help when navigating a website, they do take pride in having a live representative available during business hours to chat with you. If you're looking for a particular fragrance, or if you have a problem with a purchase, or if you're just lonely.
That's okay.
These fragrances are going to be great for the upcoming warmer months if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. I think that they have a classiness to them. They have something that is fresh in different ways, clean in different ways, but with depth. There's more than just fresh out the shower. There's more than just easy spray on, casual t-shirt kind of wear. Of course, any of these fragrances, you can do that, but I do think they're going to be great when you are a little bit more dressed up, maybe going to work, if you work in a more professional environment, or if you want to have a professional vibe, or maybe going to a fancier lunch date, or just hanging out in a fancier way, or again, at night when you want to be a little bit more upscale, more elegant, but still fresh and approachable. So after going through their catalog, I found 10 fragrances that I already have in my collection, well, 9, and they sent me 1, and I'll reveal that later. These are fragrances that I think perfectly suit this category. So all the fragrances I'm going to talk about can be found at buybeauty.com. Let's dive right into it. At number 10, this is one you will probably never see any reviewer talk about. This is a bit of an old school scent. This came out, I believe, in the 1980s, but it's still being sold today. It's still being made by the brand. They still actually talk about it and advertise it because it is a bestseller. And I think it's timeless because it's a fougere. The fougere is a timeless genre. This is called Duc de Vervins, if I'm saying that right, from Houbigant. Old French house, barbershop. Clean, aromatic, fresh, a little creamy, sweet, spicy, woody. All the classic elements here. I would say that it wears a little bit light, which I think is in its favor. It was probably stronger at one point in the past, but it may have been reformulated, and that happens. It's okay. But I think it's going to be great for, again, upscale wear, especially during the daytime. If you want a fragrance that smells super clean, super masculine, but not overpowering, this is going to do it. And I think it's relatively cheap. Definitely one of the cheaper fragrances on the list. So that is one to check out. That's number 10, Duc de Vervins from Houbigant. Clean citrus, musk, and woods. This was a fragrance that's actually grown on me. I blind bought this, I don't know, sometime last year. I liked it, but I didn't love it. There was something a little bit odd about it to me, but the more I've worn it, the more I've actually grown to really appreciate it. From Bottega Veneta. They call this Illusione or Illusion. Cool little cap. It's very unique. It's a donut. If you're hungry, here, eat it. Come on. And it's a pretty simple fragrance. It's kind of a lemony type citrus. I get this musky quality to it. It's kind of filling out the scent, giving it a texture. So it makes it smoother, I would say. And it has a nice woody dry down. I think there might be some vetiver in here. And it comes out quite a bit on my skin. Simple, easy, but unique and classy for being citrusy woody. That is Illusione or Illusion. I'm going to always say that because I don't know which one it is from Bottega Veneta. Next up here, we do have a more luxury niche brand known as Bond Number 9. This fragrance is known to resemble a fragrance that came out before it from Creed, one of their very popular bestsellers called Green Irish Tweed. And Bond Number 9 calls this Chez Bond. To me, this smells like a more crowd-pleasing, perhaps more modern, but maybe less natural smelling green Irish tweed. Very green, fresh, dewy, like dew on green grass in the morning. Definitely quite soapy. Smells very clean. Very, very green clean. I do like green clean, especially during the daytime. It's refreshing, but it's also still classy. And you can check it out at the link below. That is Bond number 9 Chez Bond. I have always said that this fragrance is one of my favorite blue fragrances. It actually stands out as something that's a little different from the norm. It's not following all the trends of every blue fragrance that has come out in the past, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years. And it's not new. This came out maybe 2016, something like that. It's from Burberry. You wouldn't think it's actually kind of remarkable, but it kind of is for being blue and easy to wear. It's Mr. Burberry, perfumed by Francis Kirkjohn. His name precedes him. I'm sure you know him. I'm gonna spray this. Cardamom, citrus, woods, and there's a bit of an herbal quality. It's very natural smelling. It doesn't smell like shower gel. It doesn't smell metallic like there's an overdose of ambroxan or anything. It's a citrusy, spicy scent with very little sweetness. Woods, herbs. There's something sexy about it, but also something kind of casual. I don't really like the bow tie on the bottle, but I think it does accurately represent this fragrance. It can be worn a little bit in more classy situations. That's why it's on this list. That is Mr. Burberry Eau de Toilette. Good stuff. The EDP is also great, but EDT is going to be better for summer. This is also one of the cheapest fragrances on this list, and it's probably one of my favorite cheapies I've bought in the past couple years. Total blind buy, don't recommend, but I can say I was surprised by it. It exceeded my expectations. From Rochas, we have L'Homme Rochas. Yet again, kind of another blue fragrance that's not like the rest of them. This is more fruity, fresh clean. I do get some pineapple, I get some blood orange, but it dries into this almost dusty, ambery, sweet warmth. Slightly dusty. There's a bit of an edginess to the scent that as it dries down, it's not just still fresh. It gets warm, it gets a little bit more interesting to me. Now it is quite sweet. You have to like a sweeter, fresh fragrance, but for that reason, when people smell this in the air, it's very attractive. And I think that ambery warmth that it gets as it dries makes it kind of classy. Again, why it's here on the list. So it could be an everyday, but could be good for special occasions. A solid, cheaper fragrance from Rochas, L'Homme Rochas. At number 5, from the house of Hermes, and it will not be the last we see from Hermes, one of my favorite designer houses. Came out in, I believe, 2021. This fragrance had to grow on me. I blind bought it when it came out. From Hermes. Like, that's how you know it's bad. I didn't even wait for it to get to discounters. I bought it from Hermes online, full price. I liked it, didn't love it. More I've worn it, I've realized, you know what, it's kind of special. It's a little bit unique, and it's classy, and it's great for summer. This is H24, the Eau de Toilette. I do have the Eau de Parfum now, which I actually like a little bit more, but By Beauty doesn't yet carry the EDP, but they do have the EDT. Green, metallic, fresh, earthy. I do get a citrus quality in here that's not listed, maybe something like bergamot. I do get this clean metallic feel. I do get an earthy quality from Narcissus, which is kind of a green, earthy, floral note. And there's something kind of cooling and fresh about it. It's pretty simple. It doesn't really evolve much on the skin as it dries, but in the air, it smells like nothing else. I do respect Hermes for creating a new DNA. That is not something you see a ton of major designer houses doing today. A lot of them are just living off flankers, and that's fine because some of the flankers are good, some of them. But this is a solid new entry. It's a breath of fresh air that they can now play with, and we'll see how far they take it. But the EDT of H24 is definitely going to be a classy pick for the summer. I recommend you try it if you can. Link down below. From Cartier, another one of my favorite designer brands that they don't really make a non-classy fragrance. They're all classy, and one that By Beauty happens to carry on their website is one of my favorites, the original classic from the 1990s. We have Declaration. Now, granted, I must say this is not going to be everyone's cup of tea. You might be in for an interesting experience when you smell it for the first time. There's a quality here that everyone doesn't love. It is a spicy cumin note. I happen to enjoy cumin, which is funny because I don't like cumin in its raw form, but in fragrance, I actually really enjoyed it. It adds a very intriguing quality for me, and I think that it is really what gives it its classiness. Bitter orange and cardamom working together to make this bright, citrusy, zingy, fresh spiciness that is very iconic. Dries down into some leather and woods and more spices. Again, that cumin is a warmer spice that kind of encapsulates the heart of the scent. I think this is an intoxicating, fresh fragrance. I wouldn't wear this on the hottest days because that cumin I think could really come out and could maybe rub some people the wrong way. So if you know you're gonna be mostly indoors, climate controlled environments on a hot day, I do think this is daytime appropriate. Just under the heat may not be the most refreshing fragrance to wear. And definitely at night, I think this is gonna be wonderful as a classy going out scent that is still fresh, but has an edge, has a masculinity to it, has an authoritative quality. Cartier Declaration. By Beauty does carry some Creed. And one Creed that they have, I was actually surprised to see it because I think it is still Creed's newest release for men. And it's one that had to grow on me as well. I got a bottle. I didn't love it. I let it macerate for, I don't know, months, 6 months or so. Came back to it. It totally changed. I now love it. It's actually one of my favorites. I would say it's maybe in my top 5 from the house currently. Viking Cologne, a follow-up to the already classy Creed Viking, which I happen to love. It's one of my favorites from the house as well, also in the top 5. And that is kind of a more vintage smelling barbershop style fragrance that not everyone dug. They took that and they essentially made it younger. They made it a little bit more modern, a little bit more youthful without smelling juvenile, which makes it much more approachable. It still has a little bit of a barbershop quality, but it's much more heavy on the citrus. It's much fresher, it's much more open, almost cooling in a way, maybe reminiscent of something like Chanel Allure Homme Sport, the original Allure Homme Sport. But quality here is great. Great for the heat, classy. I would wear this like if I'm going out on a boat, because that's what I do all summer. I'm just balling. If I was to do that, I would be wearing this fragrance. It just smells so amazing with the wind whipping around you. It's uplifting and fresh, but it's undeniably elegant. Check it out, Viking Cologne. Let me know if you've actually already tried this. I know some of you guys have tried it, but let me know what you think down in the comments. At number 2 is one of my absolute favorite fragrances from a designer brand in the past few years. Not everyone's gonna love this one because of the name. The name doesn't make any sense, and I understand that. I don't fight that at all. I agree. It's weird that they gave it this name because it's confusing. However, I see why they did, because they're trying to redefine the collection in a way that I was even resistant to at first and didn't want to try the fragrance for that reason. But once I finally got my nose on it, I realized, okay, this stuff is actually quite good. From Dior, Dior Homme 2020. I think this is an all-rounder. You could wear this any time of the year, any occasion, day or night. The sport version is actually fresher. By Beauty doesn't currently carry that, and that's okay. I still think this works. I just don't think you need to spray a whole lot if it's really hot. Some people claim bad performance. I actually have quite good performance. Your mileage may vary, so always be aware of that if that's something you're concerned about. But I do think it functions perfectly in this category as a classy, fresh fragrance that's great for summer. Citrus, musk, woods, but completely unlike the Bottega Veneta that I described earlier. There's a smoothness here. I think this is way sexier than that Bottega that I talked about, even though that one's nice. If you don't want to make too much of a statement, that one is good. If you want to make more of a statement in the air, this stuff is very attention getting in a good way. I've gotten some great compliments on it if that's something you're concerned about. Dior Homme 2020. And number 1. Now this happens to be the fragrance that I requested By Beauty sent to me to feature in this video. Wow. I've wanted to buy this fragrance for quite some time. Ever since I came back around to Terre de Hermes, which I used to hate. I now love that. Have it, wear it, it's wonderful. I knew I had to come back to this because I hated it for the same reason I hated the original. It was just too earthy and dirty for me. But now that I can appreciate that, I love this. And I know a lot of you guys enjoy this one as well. This is Terre de Hermes, the Parfum version. So many of you have been putting in the comments, you gotta get it, you gotta try, you gotta get it, you gotta talk about it. Finally have it. Again, I had already smelled it before, but man, this is summer night, classy, gentlemanly, no apologies here. Takes the original, and it's not what you would think. It's not this super overly strong beast mode presence, room filling fragrance. I don't know why you would want that out of any fragrance, but especially out of this type of profile, which is very earthy, woody, bitter, citrusy, spicy. I don't know why you would want this to overpower everyone you come in contact with. As I always say, concentration primarily affects vibe. The vibe here is that it's heavier, It's richer, it's smoother, it moves slower in the air, it will leave a sillage, but it's not going to project and start peeling paint off the walls around you. It just makes the entire DNA classier. I love the presence of the vetiver here. Actually, if you're not a fan of the original, you might like this a little bit more, believe it or not. The vetiver is toned down to me in this fragrance. It's not quite as rough around the edges, it's not quite as earthy or dirty smelling. Again, the whole of the scent becomes smoother and richer, but it's still undeniably Terre d'Hermes taken to another level. I really appreciate this as a concentration flanker. It's done right here, and it's gonna be perfect for dressing up on a warm night out when you want to let them know that you mean business. Terre d'Hermes Parfum. Again, check it out down below at the link. And again, we'll have a discount code in the description to hopefully incentivize you getting whatever makes sense for you to get. So I wanna thank you guys so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.